All right, so for the past few days, I've been playing Final Fantasy VII, the remake, so get ready for my spoiler-free review. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
It's a me,
Dario!
Woohoo! Let's go!
All right, as always, any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram or at SuperDario_World. Also, follow my Facebook page, Super Dario World. I update the links for every single podcast I do there. I do this one. This is my flagship one. I also do Super Dario Brothers with my kid brother and Super Dario World in Espanol once a week. So with my kid brother, actually, today, we just finished it. I just loaded it. It's up. It's everywhere. You can find it SoundCloud, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio app, Google Podcast, CastBox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, anywhere. Anywhere you want to find a podcast, you can find it. And today we broke down the rankings of the best superhero movies. I thought, you know what? This is going to be like a 20, 30-minute segment. We ended up talking for an hour and 20. I wanted this to be a quick one because I'm late on everything today. I'm super delayed. And it's all because I've been playing the game. But anyway, check it out. It was fun. We always just end up being ridiculous. But this is very important stuff. This is actually by request. I had a lot of people requesting me, dude, are you going to do a review of Final Fantasy VII? Are you going to do a review of Final Fantasy VII? And originally, I did intend to do it. I was supposed to get a copy for it to do it. The copy never showed up, and then they wouldn't answer me. And so I just, you know what? I went out and bought it myself. So, rules for how I do reviews. The big question that I want to answer, I always answer it straight up, is it worth your money? So, grand total that I paid for this game with taxes on Amazon, I believe was like $65. Now, I had a lot of freaking Amazon points, fortunately, but it's expensive. And here's the way I value money. Or the way I see money. So, what something costs you is the amount of time it should entertain you. So, assuming that there's a $10 minimum, I believe if you average out the minimum wage here in the U.S., let's say it's $10 an hour. So, if something costs you $65, that's 6.5 hours, and you make 10 hours an hour, that means that item should entertain you for at least 6.5 hours. So, I played the first 6.5 hours of the game to see if it was worth what I paid for it. All right? That's straight up. I'm not going to go through the whole game. I'm not going to go anything afterwards. It's just the first 6.5 hours. I'm going to tell you if I think it was worth my money or not, if I want to plan on keep playing it. So, to answer that question, yes, God fucking yes. Every single penny. Worth every single fucking penny. I am loving the game. I am loving every second of it. And I foresee many, many more hours to come. So definitely worth the bang. I'm getting the bang for my buck. Definitely. So highly recommend it. It's worth it. So what are the good things? What are the bad things? Now, as the title suggests, this is a remake of the original game. I played the original game once. I was never a PlayStation guy. I think the first thing I ever got was the PlayStation 3, and it was mainly because I wanted to play The Last of Us. And so I did not play any. Well, whenever I played a PS2 game, a PS1 game, I played it at a friend's house or at a cousin's house, and very rarely. So I didn't really finish or fully play the original Final Fantasy VII. I've only played the remake. But I love the characters from it because I saw the movie, Final Fantasy Advent Children, loved it. To me, it's my favorite video game movie. And I also, I know Cloud and I know Sephiroth, which are the main character and the antagonist from Kingdom Hearts. So Final Fantasy is created by a studio called Square Enix, and Square Enix also created Kingdom Hearts. And in Kingdom Hearts, there's a lot of characters from Final Fantasies that they pop in from time to time. So I like those characters, and that's where I know them from. But since I don't know that much about the original game, I'm just going to completely ignore all that shit, and I'm going to judge it as itself. I'm not going to judge it as a remake. I'm going to judge it as a solo entity. So, let's start off with the most important thing. Gameplay. What type of game is it? It's a third-person open adventure game. It's an RPG, and pretty much is, how can I explain it? Well, if you ever played Kingdom Hearts, that's pretty much how it works. You have your team of characters. Each one has a set of attacks. You change out the weapons, you change out skills, you give them more magic, they level up. Pretty simple, basic RPG stuff. So is that enjoyable? If that's it, if that's your type of game, then you're gonna enjoy it. If not, well, then you won't. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So far, I do enjoy it. Like I said, I'm a Kingdom Hearts fan. To me, it reminded me. It's like a more adult version of Kingdom Hearts. That's less Disney, just all Final Fantasy. So it's very enjoyable. But to me, the thing that's most impressive, it's how beautiful it is visually. First off, the music, fantastic. I believe they kept the same music or very similar, but the music is top notch. It's top notch score. I'm really enjoying that. But visually, this thing looks better than if you ever saw the Final Fantasy 15 movie. I forget the name. The Kingdom something? I don't know. It's really good. The game looks like that. So visually, it's very impressive. And the most impressive thing to me is that I expected this thing is a giant. Right? This thing is massive. The game is massive. You need an extra disc you need to load an extra disc, and it's all just data. And then it's one game with one disc with all information, then one disc with just the game. And so I thought this thing is going to be super slow. There's going to be load screens everywhere. No. So far, it's pretty smooth. There's a few, let's say, janky issues with the camera every once in a while. Basically, most of the time, you're moving around, you control the camera, but every once in a while, the camera wants to control itself, and you're like, you dick. Not really a big deal, if you ask me. But that's the big thing that it's bothered me. But so far, like I said, very smooth. It runs very smoothly. The action is pretty well. You don't see it getting stuck, just like me thinking of an idea of how to explain that. So overall, gameplay is fine. Gameplay is, you know what, better than fine. It's good. Better than good. It's great. It's very enjoyable. It's very simple, pretty straightforward. You don't need a high level of expertise to understand the game. Like I said, you have some hotkeys. You have some stuff that more advanced players could do better. But if you're a newbie, you can get the hang of it pretty quickly, because when you have to go into the command menu or the spell menu or something like that, the game sort of goes in slow motion. So you have time. If you have to give a command to a different character on your team, again, it slows down. It's very user-friendly, let's say, for that. So in the action sequences and all that stuff, it's user-friendly. But the big thing here, the most important thing here, to me at least, is story. The story, so far, is phenomenal. The characters are extremely likable. Even the very, very much taciturn and morose Cloud. Like I said, I like Cloud a lot. He's one of my favorite characters. He was already one of my favorite characters to use in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now I'm really happy about Cloud. Like I'm over the moon for Cloud. But yeah, enjoyable character. First, visually very impressive. All his stuff, imagine a dude walking around with a massive sword with really cool gear. Looks really cool. All the characters visually very impressive. All the art stuff is really good. The world itself, it's designed, it's very, very aesthetically pleasing, even though it's ugly. It's an ugly, aesthetically pleasing stuff. That Square Enix is known for that, for creating pretty good aesthetic. But the characters are likable. They all have very different personalities, likable personalities, even though some of them are like kind of terrorist psychos. You're playing as a terrorist. It's very weird. The story is simple enough, yet you can tell there's a lot of I can tell that I still have not even scratched the surface on the mystery of this world, because there's a lot of things there. It's hinted at that, okay, this isn't exactly what I think is happening, and this is too easy, this is too straightforward, and you can very clearly tell that there's shenanigans that are about to go on. Cloud is going through some stuff. The terroristic group that you're kind of a part of, called Avalanche, things are going a little too well for them. The quote unquote government is not really stepping up the way that it should. It's not answering the way that you would normally answer to a terrorist threat. It's pretty interesting. Like I said, I barely scratched the surface of the story, and I'm loving it, because you've gotten hints of what is coming, and what's coming seems great. All right, definitely great. If you have, like I said, if you don't know anything of the story, let me see if I can break it down for you. So, an ex-soldier has turned into a merc who was hired by an eco-terrorist group to stop a company from basically sucking the life force from the Earth, known as Mako. So Earth, it's not this Earth, by the way, it's another Earth. So the Earth has like a magical essence called Mako, and this company is sucking Mako from the Earth to create basically electricity. So very, very similar to fuel. And this terrorist group is trying to stop him. And the main character, Cloud, the ex-soldier, joins this group because a childhood friend is a part of this group. So the relationships between the characters is a very key part of this game. Like I said, the characters are very likable. Very, very likable. There's hints of relationships with certain characters. I guess I haven't reached the point where you got to pick a favorite, but I'm guessing it's coming, and it's going to be one of the hardest decisions of my life. So hard. I remember I suffered a lot with Mass Effect. Now I feel like I'm going to suffer a lot with this here. The thing that I like the most about the game is that it's kind of an open world, but not really. You know, let's say when you play The Witcher or something like that, you got a million options, a million things to do. Here with Final Fantasy, you got 5, 6, 7, maybe. I believe at the most options I've gotten at one point is like 6. So it's technically an open world, but it's very limited. So it forces you to stay on the main quest. It forces you to stay on the story, which is very important. That's one of the reasons why I haven't finished a lot of games, and that's because I just get lost in all the side quests. Like I'm a completionist, and so I get lost doing all the other fucking side quests. So I like that this one, it keeps you honest. It keeps you there. It keeps you in the story. It forces you to spend time with all the main characters, and that is my favorite part of it. It's a game that I know for a fact that I am going to finish because A, I'm having too much fun playing it, B, I'm liking the story a lot, and C, I can actually see it ending. I have a pretty clear path on what I have to do to finish, and there's not an overload of distractions. There's enough that you can complete and not feel like you totally wasted your time or that it was repetitive, but it's also, there's not that many that's going to distract you from the main stuff. So overall, highly recommend the game. I've enjoyed it so far. Maybe when I finish it, I'll make another review. Who knows? But that's it for today. I'm going to keep this one short. Like I said, any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram or at Super World. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you again next time.